Now, to the United States. President Trump, one of the major reasons that evangelical Christians decided to vote for him 4 years ago was because the ultimate prize in American politics is not the House, not the Senate, not even the presidency. It is the final say on all things to do in the United States, the Supreme Court. President Trump has got 3 people who have been appointed to the Supreme Court. They are conservatives, and while Democrats want to pretend that these are devil-horned crazy people who want to deny people abortions on demand and kill off your health care, they just have this crazy idea that we read the document and it's either legal or it's not legal. Well, today, Comey Barrett, there we go, ACB, has now become the latest justice to join the High Court. Donald Trump delivering on a promise, and one that he will be richly rewarded by millions of voters who don't care about the tweets, they care about the court.
We must never take this radiant inheritance for granted. We must never lose confidence in our history, our heritage, or in our heroes.
So immediately, what have the Democrats now started to scream? Well, they have screamed, pack the court. There are only 9 people, and like a kid who is losing at a game of Snap, they now say that there should be 11 justices, 13 justices, 15 justices, until, of course, the majority are the ones who don't read the law, but just interpret the law. Essentially, they rewrite the law despite the fact that they are accountable to no one. These are the lefties who have promised up front that they will pull Biden to the wild left. AOC tweeting that we must expand the court. What about this bloke? This guy is a US Senator. He would be in a position to expand the number. He would be able to take it to a best of 11, best of 13, best of 15, something that hasn't happened for 100 years.
Well, we got to look at our federal courts as a whole, Rachel, because we've seen hundreds of conservative judges put on circuit courts and district courts all over this country in the last 4 years. In many cases, too young, too unqualified, and too far right to be allowed to sit peaceably without our re-examining the process, the results, and the consequences.
So, of course, for all of this to happen, you have to have the Trojan horse that is the Biden candidacy. Biden is the lipstick on the crazy lefty pig. He's the one who says, I'm a centrist, but of course his vice president is potentially going to be somebody who, by her own ranking, is the most liberal person, the most over-the-top Green-style MP in the federal parliament in the United States. But have a look at this. When Biden was asked about court packing, about behaving like a kid who's losing at a game of Snap where you just keep adding the judges, when his answers started to go south, his staff literally pushed the media out of the way, and the media don't push back.
One of the things that is important is that keep in mind, although they're going to vote on Barrett, I think today.
Imagine if you tried to do that to an Australian reporter. They would quite rightly tell you to go jump. But these people, they are not covering Biden, they are covering for Biden. Which brings me to the term the Jedi mind trick. I do this quite a lot, but I understand there'd be quite a few of you who have not seen Star Wars. So what am I talking about? For those of you who haven't seen Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi is the Jedi Master. He can use mind control to be able to get people to do exactly the opposite of what they should.
Let me see your identification.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Move along.
Move along. Move along.
Of course, they were the droids that they were looking for. Well, perfect example of the Jedi mind trick. You saw it, I saw it. Joe Biden got confused about George W. Bush and Donald Trump. Watch his wife say, Trump, Trump, when he gets the name wrong.
Country we're going to be. 4 more years of Georgia, is going to find ourselves in a position where if Trump gets elected, we're going to be in a different world.
But these are not the droids you're looking for. Move along, move along. This was the fact-checking from the Washington Post. No, Biden did not confuse George W. Bush and Donald Trump. Liz Storer, this is the whole absurdity of what's happening in the United States right now. You see it with your own eyes, but it's not happening. You see the riots, but it's peaceful protesting. You see him confuse George W. Bush going for a second term in 2004 that he would have campaigned against, and losing the plot, and his wife saying, Trump, Trump, but you didn't see it.
These clips are literally stacking up by the week as they try to give this guy a bit more airtime closer to the election, and all we're seeing is more and more as he completely stacks it. The media, as you've already said, completely cover for him. We see headlines coming out, making sure there's nothing to see here. These are not the droids you're looking for. And yet it's as plain as the nose on your face. This guy is not up to the task.
Barnaby Joyce, you're the great straight shooter of the federal parliament, but it is amazing when the media try to pretend people what is directly in front of you, you can't see. And frankly, normal people saw that coming in the 2019 election. And look, I know you're not all in on Trump, but the way these guys are literally, they're not covering Biden, they're covering up for Biden.
Well, let's get one thing straight. If I have a choice between Trump and Biden, I'm going to pick Trump every time, like every time. Biden, the poor fella, I mean, he really is struggling, not in politics, in life. I mean, this guy cannot be leader of the great democratic hope of the Western world as we're up against the Communist People's Republic of China. It's insane. My issue always has been between the two of them, couldn't we have picked someone better? But if we've now got Trump and Biden, well, mate, I'm Trump all the way, because the other guy is just, mate, it's disastrous. We can't possibly have him. If you're going to pick him, well, you might as well walk around Rookwood Cemetery and find yourself another candidate, because, you know, why not?
All right.
Coffin's as good as that candidate.